All right.
It's live right there.
Let me see. All right, I think we're live then.
Yes, sir.
So, all right, y'all. Fucking. God, I already swore. My bad.
It's okay, bro. Hey, I'm a little nervous too, bro. I had to sip on a little glass of wine to level the
Oh
nerves out,
yeah,
bro.
I got
Don't
this
be
beer right here.
There you go. So
I was
you
waiting to
good?
crack this.
You're good, bro.
Cheers. Well, all right. We're waiting for. Oh, he just joined in right here.
See?
All right, yo. What's up, Will? Yo.
Yo.
All right, we live right now.
What's up, bro, guys?
Yo.
Nice to
All
meet
right.
you, Will. Oh, wait up. Hold up. You
What's up?
guys all got y'all Charger jerseys on and shit. Hold up.
Yeah.
Let me go get right. Hold up.
All right. Well, yeah, we're here. Me, Will, and Gary J. We're here to go over, just talk about the Chargers. You know, I have kind of like a list of stuff. We're gonna like recap the 2022 past season, off-season priorities. We're gonna talk about the draft a little bit, free agents, coaching, and team expectations. Pretty much. Oh, nice. Is that LT?
Oh, yeah, it's limited edition, too. We out here. You already
Dang.
know.
Can you still hear me?
Dang, that thing looks fancy.
Can you
Yeah,
still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
This
My
my
AirPods weren't working before, but we're good now.
mom's got me this when I was like 15 years old, bro. So this
Dang.
is a old school right here.
That's
I can go
classic.
I can go grab my dad's tattered Warren Jr. Say How jersey.
There you go. I
Maybe
ain't mad
go
at
do
it.
it.
No, I'm not gonna. It don't fit me, so I'm not gonna do it.
Y'all drinking on anything or nah?
I got me a glass of wine. I
Um,
gotta go refill here in a
you
second.
know what?
All right,
I don't, but this is what I would be drinking.
all right, all right,
Fair enough. Everybody has their
all right.
vice.
All right. Well, basically, we're gonna just talk about the season. What did y'all? Well, I'll start with Gary. What did you think about the past season, 2022?
I think it was a very typical Chargers season as far as we had our ups, we had our downs,
Hmm.
we had our expectations, and then we fell short pretty much to what my standard is, and I think all of our standards are, which is winning the Super Bowl with the talent that we have. I think
Yeah.
you look at us on paper, we're probably I mean, me as a Charger fan, I'm biased. I'll say top five, but comfortably we're top 10 roster in the league. So, um, you know, I think anytime you go into a game and you're up 27 points at half or however many points at half and you blow that, that's
Mm-hmm.
not a good end to the season. But one thing I will say, there's a little shining light at the end of the tunnel is I noticed from last season Brandon Staley's first season to last season, he definitely made improvements on the things that he was lacking at.
Mm-hmm.
So I can respect the accountability and having the constructive criticism on yourself. So I think coming into this season, it's going to be better than last season. So I think that's a good thing.
I could see that. Yeah. What about you, Will?
So I would use this analogy to compare our season to, which is something we heard a lot during the season, which was it was day to day.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Day to
It
day.
was
Yeah.
it was frustrating. You know, I think there were some things I liked from Staley this year, which was I feel like as like in game like clock management stuff like that, I thought he was better at, but I feel like some of the stuff he was good at last year, he kind of regressed it. I thought some of his fourth down decisions were very questionable, which wasn't really when he did go for it. It was when he didn't go for it. My main one for that one is that week 2 Chiefs game. We had like 3 drives, which was fourth and short in like midfield Chiefs territory, like 47 area, and we just punted. And I'm like, you can't do that. You gotta go for the kill on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just stuff like that where we definitely would have gone for that last year. But when you got a season ending with a 27-point lead that gets blown in the playoffs after you get 5 turnovers, it just cannot end like that. That's
Yeah.
not. It's a different story if the Jags were competitive the entire game. But that was Super Bowl 51-esque, where it was just the first half was all Falcons and the second half was all Patriots. It was that, but with the Chargers.
Yeah.
But I think there's room for improvement. The season was completely marred by injury on both sides of the ball. I think that there is room for improvement with the hiring of Kellen Moore. I think we'll probably get into that, but I think that's going to move us in the right direction. I think there's room for growth with a lot of the rookies. I think, if JT Woods gets moved into a starting safety role, if he can actually learn how to tackle, if Isaiah Spiller gets some more carries, stuff like that. I think there's room for improvement with these rookies, but we'll see how this draft goes. We'll see how the offseason plays out. But, I think it's just if I had to use one word to describe or if I had two words, missed expectations.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
I can see that. Yeah, I think it was well, we have Herbert again. We seemed like we were really loading up. We got Khalil Mack and some of these guys, and we did have high expectations. I think we won a lot of close games, which showed us that it kind of seemed to me like we were kind of like raising the expectations, the whole season, though. Yeah, it was definitely day to day. Like there was times during the season where like we felt like super good, like we just won a good game, and like we're feeling really high. And then like there was games where we like felt like we had no playoff hopes or anything like that. But yeah, honestly, we won a lot of close games. I like how we were playing at times during the season, but in that playoff game, yeah, it was the old Chargers, like that we all have come to know and expect, I guess. I definitely, even when we were up 27-0, I was still very nervous. I was afraid of a collapse, and yeah, so disappointing, I would say, but still hope for next year, I think. So still hopeful, but we'll see.
Let me ask you guys one question.
Uh,
What game or like point of the season was the high point for you guys, and what was the lowest point besides the 27-0 loss? I'll start off with Miami. I feel like Miami, I was on top of the world. I don't think that
yeah.
I think the whole Charger Nation was like, yeah, nobody can beat us. And then
Mm-hmm.
for me, the lowest point was against the Raiders the second time. I'm like, how do we?
Oh God!
I'm just like, that is the worst.
Don't remind me of that game.
I'm like, what is going on here? I literally halftime, I turned the TV off. I was like, I'm not watching this.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yeah, I would say the high point, probably that Dolphins or the Titans game. The Titans game was good too, but I would say the low point was the Jaguars playoff game. That just like losing like that, and just like, damn, it's really just over. Like off that, horrible taste in your mouth to have, And I was with my friends too and stuff. I was just like, damn, like just gotta kind of man up and just take it.
I was at a sushi bar. And I'm sitting here watching the game, and then like my sushi starts tasting bad. The beer don't taste as good. I'm just like, let's just go home, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually, if I was being not non-biased with personal experiences, I would also say, yeah, it was definitely the Miami game. That was the best game of the season. But the one game I was able to go to this year was the Monday night game against the Colts, because I'm out here in the Midwest, and
Nice.
we get there and we're like up it all the way in like the 600s, like in the end zone. Which, you know what? You can see the field from up there. I actually don't hate those seats because you can see the whole field. They're tiny, but you can see the whole field. But we get a call from my dad's buddy, who his friend, my dad's old school friend, who he's not really close with anymore, but one of his friends is also friends with him. They own a suite in the stadium, so we get invited to go into the suite with and it was all Colts fans, but there were 3 other Charger fans there. And me and the one kid who's probably about my age, we were just having a blast just because we were destroying him that game. And the reason it's my favorite game is because the suite we were in, one suite to our left, was Jeff Saturday's family.
Wow,
that's a good one.
So you got the only 2 Charger fans in the entire suite level next to Jeff Saturday's family. We're kicking the Colts' ass. It was hilarious.
Damn,
that's a good one.
That's a good memory.
And that Keenan Allen flea flicker, whatever the hell that was amazing, that play.
Yeah, that must have been beautiful in real life.
Yeah, and he couldn't run the tightrope, so. Yeah.
Let me see something. I'm just changing this stuff around. Now I liked it better how it was, huh?
the 3.
Now you can't see me.
Yeah. All right. Let's.
And then least favorite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go different. Least favorite, because he said the Raiders game. You said the 27-0.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with the first Jags game
Oh
Yeah.
man.
with
That was
all
really bad.
those injuries.
Yeah.
I was sitting at my girlfriend's house. I was like, I cannot watch this shit anymore.
Yeah.
That
But
was
I'm
definitely
just
a low
glued.
point.
I'm
for sure.
glued to the screen. I'm like, I can't watch it, but at the same time, I just got my head buried in the pillow, and it's like, and there is a player down. I'm like, come
I know.
on.
Every quarter.
It was that was really.
It's Slater, and then it's Bosa, and then it's Palmer, and then it's Canine, and then
I
it's
feel like that
Guyton.
kind of stuff. It makes me almost like not want to watch football at all. Like that sounds crazy, but it's like, dang.
Oh,
this
then you're
is
watching another
brutal,
team's game. You're like, okay. You're watching another team's game. You're like, okay. Well, the injury should be coming. It never happens.
Nope.
You watch a
Never
Chiefs
happened.
game. When's the Chief get injured?
I mean, yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Hey,
I think that.
huh?
Yep, I
No,
agree.
finish. Go ahead.
No, I said I agree. I agree with you.
Oh yeah.
Wholeheartedly.
All right. I'm gonna move on just because try and keep these like 10 minutes each. We got like 6 points. Keep it going, I guess. All right, we're gonna go to off-season priorities. What do you guys think like the main areas are? I'll start. You can go first, Will.
All right, so I think off-season priorities. I'm actually going to start with the moves we did today, which was the Keenan Allen and Mike Williams restructure. And I like the Keenan Allen restructure because I think that with what Telesco was saying the other day, we're probably going to extend him after this season. So I wouldn't be surprised if that cap hit gets he's got like a $32 million cap hit, give or take, next year. So I would imagine we extend him 1 or 2 years, spread that out a little bit, and then he probably retires a Charger at the end of that deal. I don't really get, nor do I like the Mike Williams restructure, because if you look at it and how the contract was structured, was an easy out in year 3. He's had injuries, not like big severe ones, but he's had an injury history, just like a laundry list of smaller injuries throughout his career, a lot of back injuries. And you had an easy out in year 3. Now you can still cut him and save money in year 3, but you get a huge dead cap charge, which if you know Telesco, he does not like dead cap charges at all. And you only saved $5 million by restructuring him this year. So I didn't understand that one. Maybe they're going to do some more and they're just going to free up a ton of money. But I think your offseason priorities, Drew Tranquil has to stay. If he does not stay, this linebacker core, this run defense is going to be atrocious. If you got Troy Reader and Kenneth Murray playing significant snaps. I know, Truth, I know your opinion on this one. I think Trey Pipkins is a priority. He's gotta stay. I think, he flashed in year 3, which would have been 2021. He played that Rashawn Slater had the COVID game against the Chiefs, and Trey Pipkins comes in and he doesn't give up a sack. I think he gave up like 1 pressure in that game on a just short week. I think that was a Thursday night game. Comes in and lights out left tackle play. And then this year he comes in right tackle. The first 5 weeks was amazing play. He had Max, at least in passing stats, he had Max Crosby in hell in that week 1 game. He was getting a little beat up in the run game, but that's also Max Crosby. He's going to do that to you. He's a beast. And, week 2, he was playing good, and him and Lindsley went out in the second half, and that was kind of when that game fell apart. Then weeks 3, 4, and 5, he was playing great until he got that MCL sprain in week 5, which just kind of kept, Popper said, throughout the season, just it kept getting rolled up on over and over and over and over again. It just kept getting re-aggravated, and he played through it. Sometimes he was out of the lineup, but it was never more than a game where he's out of the lineup, and he was playing through that injury. And I thought, he's playing pretty good through the injury. He was playing great in the first 5 weeks of the season before the injury. I think you got to bring him back. I think you've wanted stability at that right tackle position for a long time. You're finally going to have it. And Telesco's 3rd-round project trend finally produces a project that works out, and now you're just going to let him walk. It's just like, no, I think you bring back Trey Pipkins. He was pretty good in pass protection. I thought he was actually pretty good in the run game in that Jaguars game, but they were never running behind him. They were always running behind fucking – who was it? It was
Matt
Sawyer.
Slater.
Sawyer was out of that game, though. Didn't Sawyer leave the game partway through? And wasn't it what's his name?
I think it was for a few snaps, but once Rashawn was out, he played majority of the.
No,
the rest of the game.
Slater didn't play in that game. It was Sawyer the whole game until Sawyer got hurt in that game. And who's the guy? Who's the other guy? Not Storm Norton. The other. Storm
Foster
Norton.
Sorrell.
They were running behind Sorrell and Filer, which is like the same thing they were doing last year when they were not running behind Slater in the Raiders game and they're running behind
Yeah.
Hymus and
Hymus.
was it Hymus
Norm-
that they played backup right guard? It was Norton. They kept running behind Norton, and this year instead of running behind Zion, who is probably your best run blocker on the team,
Yeah.
and Pipkins, you were running behind Sorrell. I just didn't get that. So I think you gotta bring him back. And if you're gonna pick a third one, I think Morgan Fox is the next one. He had a great year.
Yeah.
And I worry about that tweet from him. I don't know what that was with like the closed mouth emoji.
Mhm.
But I'd say those are your 3 off-season priorities. You're gonna have to do a lot of work to get him back on the team, but I don't think there's gonna be a lot of out of house free agent signings. I think it's gonna be a lot of try to retain your core.
Yeah. All right. What do you think, Gary?
I definitely agree. Number one is Drew Tranquil because, like you said, if we go out there, I'm not really so worried about K9. I think K9 is going to take his jumps. I know he gets a lot of hate from Charger Twitter, but he has his ups and his downs. But he's a good
I'm gonna
player.
be honest. If I was the GM, I would have cut him after this year. He was. You cannot injure your best quarterback when you're already blowing the lead in a playoff game.
But let's just be honest. If he clears that wide receiver like that and doesn't hit his quarterback, we're like, that's some good stuff right there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, but that's not my problem with that. Is that's
Truther
not the
talks
first
about
time.
the Chargers not having physicality. K9 is a physical player. I've seen that
Okay,
dude.
you gotta be smart physically, right? You cannot just run your helmet into Michael
agree.
Davis's back.
You know, I agree.
Knock him out of the game.
But like I said, yeah, Drew Tranquil for sure because it's not really the K9, it's Troy Reader. You know, Troy Reader just an undersized backer. It's just, like Truther likes to always
He's a
bring
good
up.
special teamer.
Exactly. Physicality and size goes a long way.
Yeah.
I think Vato is definitely in the conversation. I think that's a sleeper. I think people don't really realize our cornerback situation is not too pretty if he gets signed by another team because
he's got one more year.
No, I agree with you, but I'm just saying we're gonna need him for at least
extension.
More than,
I agree. They should give him like a 2-year extension.
Yeah.
He needs some type of deal, and because
that would also free up some space because he's a pretty heavy cut candidate.
Because J.C. Jackson uncertainty, you know what I'm saying, patella tears. That's not a easy one to come back from.
That's not a pretty injury.
And I love Asante, but if he is our number one corner, that's a problem.
I like Asante.
I know I
do
him
too, but
the way
my
Brandon
problem with
Staley's
Asante is that they were benching him.
The way Brandon Staley's defense is designed is corners are going to come up and have to tackle. That's why JC was a big loss for us, in my opinion, because he's a corner that is physical and he comes up and he tackles. And then for the third one, I have to. Sorry to piggyback off Will on this one too, but I think Trey Pipkins, man, because he solidifies that right tackle spot. I think that you can easily cut Filer and put Salyer in there at left guard. And then you pretty much have a solid starting 5 there. You keep Foster Sewell, you keep Storm Norton, even though at times they're atrocious when they come in, but they're solid players for the price that you have to pay for them. You know what I'm saying? I think that they can be coached up in the next season and they'll be better with experience. But yes, but as far as the top three, Drew, Vato, and then Trey Pipkins as well.
I like the Vato because I didn't think of that because he's under contract.
Yeah. Well, I think our off-season priorities are just I just want to get more big guys just all over the place in depth, backup positions, defense line. Just get big guys that are mean and stuff. I mean, I say it all the time. I know it probably.
How would you feel about Kalijah Kancey?
I
mean, he didn't look that big, was he? He was a little.
He's like the Aaron Donald build, undersized.
Yeah, a little undersized.
He's getting the Aaron Donald comps because he's undersized, has short arms, and went to Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
All I gotta say is, anytime somebody tries to compare somebody to a great that's in the game so close, and it never works out.
Yeah.
Look at all the wide receivers that have gotten Keenan Allen comps.
Yeah.
They're not good.
It never works out.
Well, yeah, so I would say just add big guys, D-line, O-line, just get hitters, inside linebacker. As far as our free agents, I mean, I like Fehoko just as depth, and it's probably not that expensive. I like
Yeah,
that.
I think he's a restricted free agent.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So they can just
Uh,
tender him.
I like Tranquil. I think he played himself into like a reward. He was like second leader in tackles this year. Like Morgan Fox, he had, he stepped up. And if Pipkins, I could see us like re-signing him. I don't know how much he's gonna command, like how much money he's gonna want, because like I feel like tackles are big.
I say franchise.
Yeah.
I
Franchise,
say
maybe.
franchise.
No,
I
that
say
deadline already
franchise.
passed.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, good.
yep. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't think Pipkins would command that much money for a couple reasons. One, I think the third round pick stigma kind of works against him. I think his history of his first 2 seasons not being great works against him. If you look at like just a lot of like the mock draft people, like the insiders and the analysts, a lot of them were mocking tackle to the Chargers at one point because a lot of people I don't think know what they have in Pipkins. I think there's some solid tackles out in the market that will go before him, which is kind of another thing I think that is a little underrated about Tranquil is that before recently with a lot of these cuts, Tranquil is going to be like the top of the line linebacker in this free agent class. Now Eric Kendricks got cut, Bobby Wagner got cut. There's some other linebackers that are going to go ahead of him, which I think could overall lower Tranquil's value in this market. But I think Pipkins –
And he's a
I think
hometown
like
kid too. I think he'll take a deal to stay with the Bucs too.
Pipkins, I feel like maybe somewhere around 3 years, 30 million total.
30? Really?
Well, that'd be across.
He's under
So
10.
it'd be
Okay,
under 10.
yeah, I got you.
Okay, I was
That's a
gonna
little
say
rich.
because 10 million for tackle, 10 million for 3 years in each year, and then you backload that, and you probably can get out of it in year 3. Classic Telesco contract, but
I would just
the 3-year deal that's really a 2-year deal.
I'll just wrap it up with saying like I understand like the need for Tranquil. I'd like him as a backup, but I would like to improve on that in that area. But either way, I'm not gonna like if we bring him back, I'll be all right with it. If we don't bring him back, I'm all right also. But yeah, all right. If everyone's good, let's go to the draft right now. What do you guys think we should do in the draft? Go ahead, Gary, I guess.
So let's just do the yeah, I got you. let's just do the first round because I mean we'll sit here forever if we go through all 7 picks.
Yeah.
I think that the Chargers are in a difficult position because there's so many things that they can do, right?
Yeah, I
and
agree.
That's
like,
where you want to be though.
Yeah, no, I mean I agree, but it's a
guess.
difficult position to be in because
it's not okay
with this one where it comes to the point where like I'd much rather have like okay where we were at the 6th or when we drafted Justin Herbert, like we need a quarterback. It's going to be between Tua or Justin Herbert, whichever one we go with, we're going to go with. I'd rather be in that position because it's a lot easier to go through.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to like know. Okay, we're taking Tua if they take Herbert. We're taking Herbert if they take.
Yeah, exactly, and then we can deal with the consequences.
This is kind of there's 2 ways to be in this position. Which one of them is if you're the Texans, you're in this position because you literally just need every position because you suck. Or the Chargers, they have a lot of quality starters, so they just kind of need depth everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
which is where you want to be.
I guess
taking a tight end. Unless it's a Mayer.
You don't like Mayer?
No. I'm saying that the only tight end I'm taking in the first round is Mayer Kincaid. I think he's gonna drop. I don't think that he's not gonna be a first round.
I don't think he'd go far into the second though.
Yeah, exactly. He's not gonna be a. He's gonna be a.
I think you'd have to trade up in the. I think you'd have to trade up in the second to get him.
I think that's worth it for the Chargers doing, but that depends on who they pick in the first. But realistically, going Bijan just because Eckler needs help. Even though I have faith in Isaiah, or I'm going on Addison or in Jigba. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm going receiver there because just giving Herbert more weapons is just going to make the offense a lot easier to be able to have flow. I think that was a big problem for us having depth at that position last year. Even though losing your 2 best wide receivers is pretty.
Like having Bandy.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like Michael Bandy, bro. Like really? Like I get it.
We got Josh Palmer, DeAndre Carter, and Michael.
Come on, man. I'm just like, dude, Michael Bandy. Like, you need to find somebody in free agency.
Oh, we all wanted him to get a shot in the in the preseason, though.
Yeah. He was definitely a hometown kid, but it's just like he's not. He's one of those guys where it's like, I love you, but you're not going to help
You're
us
not.
that
You're not
much.
ready.
Yeah,
So you-
exactly.
So you're saying that receiver you would maybe put as like you're looking.
I'm going. Top three, no particular order. I'm going Bijan and Jigbo, so running back, wide receiver, or I'm probably going edge because Khalil Mack is going to probably have a couple more years, and we need somebody to play alongside. One of those guys is going to leave.
hmm
Somebody to fill that gap for sure.
Okay. All right. What about you, Will?
All right, so obviously my Twitter account says that we're gonna get Bijan. I would like it. He's my best. Probably if he's there, he would easily be the best player available. I don't think we do it just because I don't think
Give me 1
Telesco
second,
makes
guys.
that pick. I don't think Telesco makes that pick,
Mhm.
but he'd be my number one. But I think number two is definitely edge three because I don't know if I was listening to driving to work. I don't know if I was listening to Locked On or Guilty as Charged, but they said that edge three, which is a position that shouldn't see the field as much as wide receiver three because most teams run base three wide receiver sets. Our edge three
11
position
personnel.
our edge three position over the last 2 years has only seen like wide receiver three was like 2,400 snaps compared to like 2,100 snaps for edge three. So it's not a huge discrepancy over the last 2 years for edge three versus wide receiver three. So, and we all know that Chris Rumph is not it.
Bro. He's a great social media guy. He's one of those guys. Like if I
Seems
was
like
him, I would
a nice
give him
guy.
a big hug. But I'm just
Chris
like,
Rumph is not it. If Nolan Smith is there, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Bijan. If Nolan Smith and Bijan are there, I'm taking Nolan Smith. It is going to be, in the long run, I think Bijan's a better player, a bit better player, but I think the positional value of edge combined with the fact that Khalil Mack's not going to be here for that much longer probably would push me over the edge to take an edge in the first round. Other than that, if it's not an edge or Bijan, it'd probably be like Kincaid or Mayer if they're there. I'm kind of out on wide receiver day one because I think that there is more value in that position in the later rounds of the draft than there are in the high rounds of the draft this year. There's not really that clear cut, this is your wide receiver one, as where it's like there's a ton of guys down the board who are like, they can play this role, which is what the Chargers, I think, need at wide receiver.
That's fair. All right. You would say edge,
Edge.
maybe-
Edge is the number one need, I think, in the first round. Just
all right.
that edge three position, if one of them gets injured, you cannot run it back with Chris Rumph.
All right, that's cool. For me, I would say probably our biggest needs, I feel like a lot of people don't agree with me on this, but first of all, running back, I think we desperately need another ball carrier to take the load off Herbert and Austin Eckler. Running back, I would even take Jahmyr Gibbs if he was rising really high. I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I would for sure take him, but I would think about it if
not
guys
in the first. I wouldn't take him in the first.
If he was rising really high. If Bijan went number 5, top 5 or so, but I would think about it. But I would say running back. I would also say offensive line just to get more nasty. Defensive line, get more nasty, and inside linebacker. I just think running back, O-line, D-line, and inside linebacker. Just get nasty dudes that are gonna be physical and push the ball, hurt people. Not.
You try to turn us into an NFC team. This what you trying to turn us into the San Francisco 49ers. I got you. I ain't mad at you though, bro. Yeah. I'm not mad at that. Mad at that.
That's
what Shanahan does.
Yeah, because I feel if you have a team like that and just Herbert, Justin, think about 49ers with Justin Herbert, bro, they would dominate.
Gracious, my lord, yeah. That's not even. Yeah, that's crazy.
They'd be a dynasty.
Yeah, that's easy money for sure.
So
zero confidence in Tom Telesco, H4. I agree.
What did you say?
Yeah.
The chat.
Yeah, the chat. My man said 0. Yep, I agree wholeheartedly. He's a bum.
I mean, yeah, bro. This is definitely his last year. So
what is it? What is it? 10 years, 3 playoff berths, 2 wins, 0 division titles.
Yeah,
I think 5 players re-signed to second contracts.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the worst part of his whole resume is
Yeah.
You don't know how to draft.
It's like okay,
bro.
you get it's okay. You get like a Hunter Henry who was a decently good hit, and then he just gets groomed by Bill Belichick and leaves. Like, okay, that's not really your fault,
hmm
but like, dude, you traded up for Kenneth Murray.
Yeah, I just think that he's missed. Like, he's definitely hit on a good amount of players. You know, Bosa, Herbert, and all that. But he's missed on a lot, and like we just have weak depth. Like always, when we have a guy
Terrible.
go out, we just like we get so exposed right there. You know.
Like,
Can
look
you
at the
call?
Ravens.
But can you call Herbert and Bosa a hit though? Those are like no brainers at that time. Like
Yeah.
No,
Bosa at
literally,
3
it's like-
and Herbert at 6 is like, who else
we
are you
would have
gonna
taken
draft?
two. We would have taken Tua.
Yeah, we would have taken.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's my point. It's like like a lot of those two in particular, he had no
We
choice.
got
It was
lucky
like,
that
if
they
you didn't
didn't
draft
take
Joey
Herbert.
Bosa,
Mhm.
people are looking at you like you're crazy.
It's like,
You know what I'm
okay,
saying?
you're picking inside the top 5. You're not taking a quarterback. You better hit.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah,
Okay,
seriously.
you bust on a
junior season?
you bust on a quarterback. It's like, okay, Jamarcus Russells, they happen. You know, not every quarterback is Peyton Manning. Sometimes you get a Ryan Leaf,
Yeah.
but you're not taking a quarterback inside the top 5. If you don't hit on that pick, you suck as a GM.
Yeah. Well, all right. Excuse me. All right, let's go to free agents. I'm wondering if I could share my screen. I don't know if I can do it, but I don't know if I can, but maybe I could just read some free agents. You guys, I don't know if you guys know the list already, but like, is there any free agents you guys have in mind or anything like that?
If I'll just start with restricteds, Fehoko, Dicker.
like outside of our team.
Actual free agents. Well, it
Yeah.
depends on how much. I'm gonna assume we clear up enough cap space to make some like middle of the pack
Yeah.
to vet minimum signings. Nicole Hardman.
The receiver. All right, yeah. I mean,
That
he
would-
might be expensive.
I
Might
think
be
it's PFF
expensive.
contract. I
He
think
just
it's
won the
PFF
Super
contract.
Bowl.
I honestly
But
I see
none
them
of the Chiefs
investing all of that
receivers are
money
like-
back into the team, to be honest. I don't really see them going like if they do, they're gonna get like the Kyle Van Noys of the world and things of that nature.
I don't.
Like
I think PFF's contract for McCole Hardman is like a $7 million per year average.
not bad for him.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
like
but-
if you get a McCole Hardman, he is. I think he ran like a 3.2 or something, 4.32.
Uh-huh.
Or low 4.3s at his combine, and he's still like 25. That kind of fills your speed receiver need. You probably could still take one during the draft, but like you wouldn't be forced to like we need to take a speed receiver, and you could play for more like okay, we can take a linebacker here, we can take a backup offensive lineman, we can take a safety, like we can do all this other stuff instead of having to take a wide receiver here because we need speed desperately. Which I think if you get like a McCole Hardman. Not only does it take away the Chiefs, it adds speed to your team. And
But I'm one of the guys though that don't think that like yes, I see everybody's point as far as why we needed speed on offense, but I don't think that necessarily need just a speed wide receiver. Like I think that the Addisons and Jigbas and things of that nature where they just you need players that attract attention.
and Jigba's not fast though.
No, but I'm saying, if you leave him in a one-on, if he's running slot, or if Keenan's running slot, and you leave either one of those guys in an isolated situation, it's pretty much barbecue chicken because you have to worry about.
Well,
Mike
yeah,
Williams
because they
going over
they do the same thing. Which the problem for me there is that our receiver room is built on guys who do the same thing as each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like
back to my point, I
Keenan-
don't think that necessarily
Keenan-
like okay, if you
Keenan-
can't leave Keenan in an isolated situation, if you can't leave Mike Williams in an isolated situation, or you can't leave Addison and Jigba in an isolated situation, that's a problem for the defense, no matter how far they go down.
And the
field.
reason that you need speed is because speed makes it so that as long as like unless they get hurt or something, but like that's why you want like elite. When we had Guyton and T Billy, like both of them were pretty fast guys. If you have speed, that can't be ignored. If you like this year, we saw it with the playoff game. In the second half, the Jaguars adjusted to where Mike Williams was not in that game. They just doubled Keenan Allen because Palmer and Bandy couldn't get open.
But if you have Njigba or Addison there, and you're leaving Addison or Njigba in a one-on-one,
Sure,
then they're going. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I think I know I get what you're saying there, but like with how our receiver room was constructed last year, if Keenan goes out, Mike gets bracketed. If Mike goes out, Keenan gets bracketed. No one else gets open.
Mhm.
That a receiver is
And
an
the thing with the
important piece.
speed, is the speed receiver in a kind of a backwards way. It also helps out the run game because if you got a speedy receiver who can get access that deep part of the field fast, the safeties and the DBs can't play like press in the box in run support. They gotta play back farther. So they can only run, maybe they can only run a 7-man box or a 6-man box.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
think that goes more to Truther's point as far as marrying, like Brandon Staley says, marrying the run and the pass.
Marriage of the run and the pass.
Yeah, because like you're right, definitely getting behind the second level with play action and things of that nature, having a speed receiver makes it a lot easier. But the negative about speed receivers the majority of the time is when you bring them into the game, they're kind of giving you a show and tell as far as what you're going to do, right?
Yeah,
If
that was the problem with Guyton, is that Guyton was just like
exactly.
send me
Guyton comes
deep.
in, he's pretty much, and you know what I'm saying, he's pretty much running a seam up the middle to split the
But
cover two.
you
And
still have to respect that because if you don't, he'll beat
fair
you.
enough, that's true. But I'm saying if you have a 3 wide receiver core where it's just that they come out consistently, it makes the offense harder to guard. And if, to Truther's point, if we get more physical and we can actually run the ball when people know we're running the ball, you don't necessarily need speed to get behind that because they're going to suck up regardless because they have to stop the run.
And I think one thing I would say is that I just think that maybe it wasn't the best idea to go with Josh Palmer in that pick, like when we already have like that type of receiver.
Amon-Ra St. Brown was on the board.
Like, we had that, like that was probably the time to get more of like a quicker, fast receiver. But like I totally understand the need for that. I just don't know if it's our top priority, but it would be
Palmer,
great.
For me, the thing I don't like about Palmer is that he was drafted to fill in for Mike or Keenan if they go out. Like, he could do both of the things kind of well, but he doesn't excel at either. He's like jack of all trades, master of none. Like, he's not really great at anything, but he's like decent at
He gets no
things.
separation.
He's pretty good. He's a good catcher and stuff, but
like if you ask him to fill in for an injured Keenan Allen, he can do it okay. If you ask him to fill in for an injured Mike Williams, he can do it okay. But like he doesn't do enough things on his own for me to like warrant, like if we brought in like a McCall Hardman, Palmer doesn't do enough things on his own for me to warrant playing him over that.
Yeah.
I agree.
Let's see. Hang on a second. Yeah, I mean, I'd agree with all that. As far as free agents go, I could see us signing like mid-level, maybe like cheaper free agents, like depth spots that maybe good value from other teams. I would
Kyle Van Noyes.
I could see us adding more O-line, D-line, inside linebacker, maybe a corner.
Bring back Ode Ibushi.
I mean, yeah, sure. I can.
And Linval Joseph. We could use a little bit of
Linval. I just feel like we need bodies. Like we need.
He's just a Tonka truck.
He's lost weight.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty old.
But
Linval lost a bit of weight because he was on the Eagles this year.
How old is he?
By the Eagles, yeah, him
30 something.
And that brings up another point. You remember when the Eagles midseason signed Ndamukong Suh and the other D tackle?
It was Linval.
Linval and Suh, and then I mean they ended up going to the Super Bowl, so obviously like they knew what they were doing.
Well, my thing is, to your point, we have Michael Bandy, and you don't sign a receiver like just another one.
That was the worst. Oh my God, Telesco should have gotten fired for that midseason.
That's negligence in my opinion. Like
you got Michael Bandy and DeAndre Carter and Josh Palmer playing your receiver snaps, and you don't even attempt to make a move. Which you know what? Maybe it was Spanos saying you made all your moves. Now you're gonna win with the roster we built for you.
But another thing is that I would add is like, you can finish your point if you want.
If Spanos literally told them you cannot trade for anyone. This is the roster we built. We spent a shit ton of money on this.
Yeah.
Win with it. That wouldn't surprise me because that's something Spanos would do.
But, damn, what was I just about to say? I feel like I forgot right now, bro.
Too many red ribbons or what, bro?
Too many red ribbons. This is only my second one. I'm almost
No,
done
just
with it.
messing.
Dude, I was gonna say something about what I was gonna say was that on the offensive line too, I feel like we're super thin on there because even Brandon Staley like admitted he's like, Sawyer saved our season pretty much, and like that just shows you how close we were to just freaking collapsing, and in the offensive line. Then imagine Herbert, the young guy with a broken offensive line, like that's how close we were. I just think that's a clear indication that this management is messed up and all that.
You know what I think is to add on to your point too as well. Oh,
Wait,
his
I think Will's muted. Will, you're muted. We can't hear you anymore.
I think you muted yourself. But to go back to your point, I think that another instance where management showed their like lack of competency is how could you let Joe Lombardi go through the season?
Yeah.
My humble opinion, I'm just like, bro, I don't see how that makes sense. Like, I think it's bad when you and I are sitting on the couch and these guys probably forgot more football than we could ever figure out,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we know what they're running on fourth down. So you're telling me that the opposing team doesn't know what we're running on fourth down? Like that's bad, man. I just think that was one of those instances where you definitely fire him mid-season just because he wasn't trying to get better.
Yeah, I could see that. And just for me, I didn't really know too much if it was like the offensive coordinator, which I think it definitely was, or like just the lack of personnel to run the ball or something like that. But honestly, he probably deserved to get fired. I could definitely see that. Okay, let me try and add Will one more time. I don't know what happened with this guy.
Gotcha. I'm gonna grab my wine opener because
Dang, I don't know how to add this guy again. Dang. I don't know if I can add him back in.
he lost his spot.
Oh, shoot. I'm trying to tap on this thing. Can you add somebody or not?
Let me see. Give me a sec. That was the tequila.
Oh, nice.
Let me see here more.
Can you click that add guest? That sucks. We had a good thing going right there.
Yeah, no, I can't add anybody.
I would like refresh this thing, but I don't want this thing to shut off.
No, yeah, I feel you.
All right, well, let's I guess let's just wrap it up, me and you then.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
All right, let me hold up.
Hold on, I'm over here slacking, bro. I gotta. Hey, don't roast me on the wine. I'm trying to get a 6-pack, bro. I'm getting married in
I don't blame you, bro. I really don't. I've got one more beer, bro.
Cheers, my brother. Cheers. Oh man.
All right, the last point that I had to go over is pretty much like sorry, excuse me.
No, you're good.
Team expectations, like for the coaches, for the management, for the entire team. Like, what do you think is the expectations for next year?
That's a deep question right there. That's a deep thinker.
Mm-hmm.
On face value, we just have to make the playoffs just because we made the playoffs last season. Got to be better than last season, obviously, in my opinion. But to me, the way that we lost and the way that we went out in the season, I think anything less than the AFC Championship appearance, is a no-go because, like I said before, we're top 10 in talent on paper. You know what I'm saying? And at some point, these things just have to come together.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? When granted, last year is a different story because we were riddled by injuries and things of that nature. But when you got a Khalil Mack, when you got a Joey Bosa, when you got a Derwin, when you got a Corey Linsley, Justin Herbert, people try to hate on Gerald Everett and Daniel Parham, but those are solid tight ends. You know what I'm And when you got
I like
Rashawn
Everett.
Slater, I'm saying Everett's I like Everett too. You got the Rashawn Slaters, you got Keenan, you got Mike, you got that. That's a solid squad, man. That's a formidable squad that we should be able to
Yeah.
compete.
Yeah.
I
One
think
thing
that
one thing I would inject in there is that like I feel like we have like such good top level talent, but I feel like Telesco has just taken too many risks with those mid-level deep like depth positions, like taking like D2 players when we should have just been like nailing down those sure things like the SEC big type of players, just like
yeah.
nailing it down, like not taking too many risks down there. But yeah, you go ahead, bro.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. He's definitely tried to do too many home runs in the later rounds, like third and fourth, where it's like you get solidified players in that position. I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
Like Will was saying earlier, I think Trey Pipkins is probably the only third round guy, late round guy that actually developed in what we expected him to develop into. So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as expectations goes, I think that we should definitely be in the later rounds of the playoffs. What am I expecting from our coaching staff? I think Brandon Staley is a great coach.
I like him too.
His schemes are fire. Like I don't know if you have the NFL Plus app. I recommend getting it next season. You can watch the all 22 and you can see like the aerial view of all the plays and stuff like that. Some of his pattern match schemes and the way he constructs his defenses are articulate, and I can see that he was a quarterback, previously in his career, because like that Miami game, nobody expected us to play like that. That was a master class defensive.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like his scheme was fire.
Yeah.
That first half of the Jags game, Trevor Lawrence was looking like, I don't even know. He was not looking like Trevor Lawrence, is all I'll say.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. I agree. And I think
that.
sorry, I think in that Jaguars game, I agree, bro. Like our defense, our team was clicking. And then I think what happened in that last quarter, in that last half, was just that, again, we couldn't run the ball. We couldn't stop the run. And they just totally attacked that. And we kind of got disheartened, or we kind of like lost our momentum. And like, we're just not complete in that sense.
Yep. Joe Lombardi was trying to supplement the run game by running stick routes, and
he's been doing that all year.
Exactly, and they got accustomed to it. They knew, and then I think the biggest mistake for Brandon Staley in that game was getting out of the scheme. When you know what I'm saying? Like my football coach always told me, when you got your foot on the neck, you don't lift it up, you twist it and you turn it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like not to be, you don't let them stand back up when they're already down.
For real, I can see that. Sure.
Yeah. So. But as far as Brandon Staley goes, I expect improvement just because he improved last season. Kellen Moore, I think the biggest thing that I want to see from him, just because we dealt with Joe Lombardi last year, is just, have a dynamic offense, because we have dynamic players. So I think it doesn't necessarily for me have to be explosive, like we're chucking the ball 50 yards down the field. I just think that it has to more so be creativity, be unpredictable, and to your point, be able to run the ball when people know that we're going to be able to run the ball, be physical.
Yep.
So, and then as far as Derek Ansley, I mean, I think that's his name, Derek Ansley, right? I said it right.
I think the new DC.
DC. I think that he's going to be fired because, just from watching the YouTube videos with him doing the mic'd up and all that stuff. Yeah, exactly. Like you can tell the players relate to him. You can tell that he understands the scheme.
Yeah.
So I think that's just going to. He's basically just a voice for Brandon Staley. So
yeah, I was going to say that just now too. Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that. I would say, the expectations this year are definitely win at a playoff game. Go, really push deeper, not just be like this little bubble team that gets bounced. Getting tougher, more physical, run the ball, stop the run, and go deeper in the playoffs. Like, bro, the idea is to win the Super Bowl. Like, if we're just messing around all these years, just like trying it, like it's just not working. And I think Tom Telesco is on his last year right here. It's do or die for him. And I think if we don't at least go win one playoff game or get anywhere near the Super Bowl, like it's gonna be pretty tough. He's gonna go. I don't know who else is gonna go. So you would agree that expectations would be like at least one playoff win, right? At
I mean,
least,
yeah, I'm about to say that's the bare minimum.
yeah, the bare minimum.
The bare minimum.
And
Yeah,
if we don't get that, what do you think happens?
realistically, I think I mean, Tom Telesco, even though I think that people don't want to hear this, he's one of those guys where the Spanos just love him. It's just like, hey, he has his arm, they have their arm wrapped around his shoulder.
Yeah.
So I think Brandon Staley is more likely to be fired
Hmm.
than Tom Telesco, just because Tom Telesco knows how they like to run things. He has that working relationship, and the Spanos are cheap, so they're not gonna go out and get you know, a decorated, general manager or anything like that. So I think
Yeah.
that Brandon Staley most likely gets fired. I think it sucks that we can't get Sean Payton anymore because that's another thing that I like to bring up
Yeah.
too is why do the Chargers like to not pick up on people that openly want to come to your team? They say they want to be there, and then they always end up in our fucking division, bro.
Yeah.
Always.
I feel like that Sean Payton thing was like when you have a girlfriend and then like you're like looking at another girl, and you're like you can't make a move,
She's the blonde hair with blue eyes, but you got the
Yeah.
brunette sitting next to you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I would have just dumped her.
Hey,
That's what happened.
sometimes that is the move, but yeah, I think if we don't win a playoff game or nothing like that, Tom Telesco's out. I do like Brandon Staley. I'd like him to stay, but it just seems like honestly, okay. So if we don't make the playoffs, for sure, I think Tom Telesco's out. I think Brandon Staley might even stay if he like has another winning season. Maybe I would say I would give it 50-50. Kellen Moore is probably going to still stay. Ansley. But then basically if we lose and Tom Telesco leaves, we're gonna be in a transition phase where like now like everything is in the open, like it's gonna get all weird. We don't know if we're gonna be a good team. Like hopefully we will be. We probably should be. We got Herbert in pieces, but we don't really. It's just like reshuffling and stuff like that. It's gonna get weird. But so one more year, we're gonna run it back with Tom Telesco, Staley, and Herbert, obviously, and everyone else, and we gotta at least win a playoff game, man, for sure.
I mean, yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that at least a playoff game. That's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I just you can't have 10. You cannot have 10 and be subpar. It's just like that. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and yeah, that's another weird thing. It's like honestly, if I was Justin Herbert, even as a Chargers fan, I might even say like he might be better off going somewhere else, So we got to do everything we can to hold on to this guy,
Yeah, he's definitely a generational guy. So,
Generation.
but I think the Spanos know what they got in their hands. I think that I think the Chargers as an organization understand what they're dealing with.
Yeah, if Herbert left, I feel like, bro, we would go crazy.
I'll cry.
I would probably cry too. I'm not gonna lie.
Real tears, bro.
Tears, bro. Oh man.
Look,
yeah.
That dude. Yeah. So let me ask you this though. This is the question I had for you. So, why have you lost your faith in like the Isaiah Spillers and like the Joshua Kellys? Because I know you're high on Bijan.
Yeah.
That's your guy.
Yeah.
So.
What I would say is, Josh Kelly. I think he's like obviously he's a supreme athlete, right? Like you don't make it to the NFL, you're not a supreme athlete. Obviously he's a supreme athlete, but the competition is so high, and it's just you just got to look at the numbers, really. Like what have you done for us? And it's just it was less than 300 yards this past season. So, I mean, I'm not saying I don't think he can do it, but I just think that you can't just like bank on that. We can't just bet on Josh Kelly being like a real, like a Tony Pollard or whatever type, like complimentary back. And then the same thing goes for Isaiah Spiller. Like, yeah, I get it. He's young. He's, rookie. But again, he was a fourth round pick. Fourth round picks don't always, turn out and stuff like that. So, and I just think that running back is not a position to mess around with. Like, that's just not, like people say like, oh, you could just get a dime a dozen, but I just don't believe that. I think that we need someone to help Eckler. Like I'm tired because it's been like 3 to 4 years just switching in running backs and stuff like that. I'm just like, no, bro. Like we did best when like we had, LT, Ryan, Melvin, not Eckler is good too, but like I just think that he's a little small. He's smaller than those the previous
He's
three.
he's not a between the tackles runner, in my
Yeah.
opinion, just because not because of his size, because the dude is pound for pound stronger to the team. Like he's a
Yeah.
physical
Yeah.
player for his size. I just think he has bad eyes. Like sometimes he doesn't see the hole the way it's supposed to. He the way I would classify it is the way you tell you're dealing with a good running back is when the line messes up or the things aren't blocked properly, and you still find a way to get two or three. And I
Yeah.
think that Eckler's not that type of guy. He's just not the. He's the guy where you just give it to him in space and you let him get jiggy. He just, what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
I agree with you in that aspect, but I think Isaiah's he's gonna have a big season coming up because just think of it from this aspect. He's one of the top rushers in the SEC. He was at Texas A&M where he was literally the workhorse. Like that dude was used to getting the ball 20 times, 25 times a game almost. And then he goes from having to play special teams. I think it was just an adjustment for him. You know what I'm
So
saying? Psyche makes a big difference.
So would you be okay going to the next season with just and I see HH4 Larry Roundtree scrub. I mean, I don't want to be rude, I don't want to disrespect the players. Larry Roundtree, I think he's probably gonna be gone this offseason or next offseason. I don't really know. I'm not counting on Larry Roundtree. But what I was saying was that would you be okay with us going into next season with Eckler, Kelly, Spiller, and Roundtree again?
Reluctantly, yes, because
Exactly.
I feel, yeah, reluctantly, I like, yes, but I get your point though. Like, I get
Yeah.
where you're coming from wholeheartedly. But like
Yeah.
to me, I think that we're gonna be a pass first team anyways. So I can see
Mhm.
why wide receiver, like to me, wide receiver and edge are the top two positions, and then maybe tight end. But
That's fine.
I think, yeah, I think that's the way to go. But
Mhm.
you gotta have faith in Spiller, bro. Just have some faith in the Spillster.
Yeah.
He's,
I mean, I'm not saying cut him.
no, I got you. I got you. You just want somebody when Eckler gets out,
Mhm.
that you have a solid piece in there, and he's gonna be able to
Yeah.
fill the shoes properly. I got you.
Yeah.
You want that
Uh,
Michael Turner.
yeah, something like that. I would definitely say so. Dang, I was gonna say something else, but I forgot.
My
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. So, I mean, I guess we're nearing 1 hour. Maybe we cut it at 60 minutes. We got like 2 minutes left. I mean, we
Yeah, there
could
we
go
go.
longer if you want. I'm not sure, but we'll probably cut it
Up
at
to you,
60
brother.
minutes. I would
That's
say
cool.
like what do you like in this moment right now? What do you think about the Chargers?
Um, like objectively speaking, or as a fan, because
Uh,
that's two different opinions.
like you could start off going on your fan opinion and then
Okay.
objectively.
My fan opinion is we need to get our shit together. We need to find like, but it's not a big pile of shit. It's a small pile of shit. It's like we got to fine tune some things. We got to get things in
Hmm.
order. We're not too far off.
Hmm.
Um, I feel like this is the most frustrating part as a fan because you're so close, but you're so far away. But objectively speaking, I agree with you. I'm one of the people that do agree with you that we do need to get more physical, for
Yeah,
sure. Because you
yeah,
can't just like, because you look
yeah.
at like teams like the Niners and they're not that they're a super physical team, and yes, they're talented, but
Hmm.
a lot of those players on that team are no name players. Like who do you could probably the top five players are what Fred Warner,
Hmm.
Christian McCaffrey, Debo, Trent Williams,
Hmm.
and Ward. You know what I'm saying? Like you need that physicality.
I feel like
And
they're using a different eye to get their players. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. I think that it goes to your point too. I think a lot of that is Telesco because just
Yeah,
look
yeah.
at the players that we drafted before Brandon Staley got there, and then look at the players that we drafted now. Like we're going more SEC, we're more Georgia dominant. We're what I'm saying, we're picking
Hmm.
Stanford guys, like big burly motherfuckers. So
Yeah,
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 but
for
I think
sure.
that I think those are my points for
Yeah.
objectively and as a fan.
Well, what I would say is the Chargers. I feel like, gosh, there's so much to say about this, but I would say like, I think the Chargers, like, we are a group of like great players, like really good players, but just not all the way down, like all the way through the 53 man and even the practice squad. Not have we're just missing that physicality, and it just every single year it bites us, it holds us back, and I think that it's our GM just doesn't have the right eye to build this team all the way through. Like, yeah, he hits sometimes, but just not tough enough, not physical enough. I'm hoping because like you want to like get the stars and then surround them with like physicalness, just to fill in the voids. I think we're missing that. We can, and if we get that, I think that we can go far. I think that we have a lot of potential, especially with Herbert, the players we have. If we could just get this thing together, I do have faith in this team. If we could do that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's like I said, we're so close, but we're so far away. We're just
Mm-hmm.
on the apex of the hill. We just need to get over the hump. Just
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
And one thing I have to point out too, though, is I think Herbert needs to take a big step going into this next season. I know that's like the holy grail. We can't talk about Justin Herbert because he can't. He's perfect, which I agree.
Yeah.
But I think that's one thing that he needs to. The biggest thing I think for him he needs to learn is the command of the offense. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's true.
I come from that era where we were dealing with Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, and
Yeah.
those dudes come up to the line. It's just like, well, 54 is blitzing. He's running a curl to flat. I want you to run this, and then it works. So I think that Herbert needs to take this. He needs to command.
But that also goes to the point that like he's a young kid still. He's only like 24. He's still getting older and growing and stuff. Yeah, I do agree that in that aspect, he. I mean, we would love to see him improve in that way, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I agree with you.
all right, y'all. I think we're pretty much wrapped out here. Let me chug this last beer right quick.
I finished mine already, bro. I got you.
Oh, you already got it? All right.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, good talking. I think we covered a bunch of it's kind of like the state of the franchise where we're at right now. I think we covered a bunch of topics, and appreciate you being on here with Will as long as he lasted. And let's do this again. We could just hop on here whenever, and just talk and stuff.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you spending your time with me as well, brother, and we'll get back to it.
All
Don't
right.
gang or don't bang. You already know.
Yeah, Bolt Gang. Hey, we'll be in touch. We'll be in touch.
Yes, sir. Already.
All right, later.